Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me as always is my favorite guy that knows how to make cakes, my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
Ryan, can you think of two filmmakers as different as Paul Verhoeven and Yasujirō Ozu?
I
mean the polarity between
Gaspar Noé and Miyazaki.
Yeah, I mean you're in the same area, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean it's not dissimilar.
Spike Lee and Brad Bird.
What a shift. Well, honestly, I don't know. But either way, Verhoeven to Ozu is a real left turn. And I'm excited to get after it. We're going from, summer blockbuster, fun filmmaker to very kind of, I don't know. He's
Harmony
the
Korine and Celine Sciamma.
He's your favorite cinephile's director,
Yeah.
But he's also underseen. And honestly, for me personally, underseen, novice.
Yeah. No.
But I'm here for it. I'm excited.
Can I say this is that when we do this show, when we've done this show, when we were at In Session Film, or as Jay likes to call the old show, and when we've been here at Director Watch, the goal of this is not to just talk about some of our favorite directors and get the other one to see some of them, or, we've had fun experiments like we did the summer of Tony Scott, or like this year we did Peter Jackson and get you watch Lord of the Rings, or we just come off of Verhoeven, or we've done some directors that we were like, man, wouldn't it be great to finally do like Friedkin or, Mike Nichols or Elaine May or some of these directors.
Like popular American filmmakers.
Yeah, it's nice to talk about like different eras of great cinema. And yes, they have, been mostly American. But the purpose of, and at least I think some of the funnest ones have been when either one or both of us have gone on discoveries.
Just like true discovery.
I think that we can say that we've done that at least a handful of times, and they've been so successful. And this one, when we decided to do it, it felt right. And I think the reason why we did it is because the films that we're talking about, this post-war era for Ozu, are his most popular, and they're the ones that are easily able to find within physical media on the Criterion Collection.
Sure.
And that's definitely like helps, like that totally helps us to make this decision.
He has, I mentioned it on our last episode. Two of the films we're going to talk about are in the top 25 on the most recent Sight and Sound critics poll.
Yes.
Do you know how many films we've covered on this show so far that are in the top 25?
Did you do this?
I looked this up. Yeah.
Sight and Sound. Okay. Are you talking about just Director Watch? You're not talking about
just Director Watch, yes.
Not when we were at In Session Film.
Not the old show.
Not the old show. See, I told you, you call it the old show.
In Session Film.
Shout out over there. All those episodes, by the way, if you want to listen to them, they're archived. They're archived over there.
On Director Watch.
Yes, but on Director Watch. Okay. Well, let's go through the series. So the first series we did was Todd Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one there I would say is probably Far From Heaven.
Not in the top 25.
No, nothing from Haynes.
Top 25 is elite. No,
top 25.
No, I'm saying top 25, which Ozu has two.
Okay. I thought you were just talking about like the top.
I'm not going to waste our time. It's 0.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not very fun.
We have never covered.
See, when I play a game for you
on the Sight and Sound top.
When I play a game with you, I let you have a little bit with it.
You know who doesn't have a film on the top 25 on the Sight and Sound?
Paul Thomas
Martin
Anderson?
Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese.
Terrence Malick.
Wow. Yeah, that's
David Lean, Spielberg.
Honestly, that's the one that's most surprising. You would think that like
Scorsese?
No. Malick.
Oh, Malick.
Malik Mode.
Yeah, I guess so. The looking at the most recent Sight and Sound poll is very interesting.
Can I ask you what? This is going to sound mean to the poll makers out there.
Altman not in the 25. Godard not in the 25.
Altman's not even in the 100. By the way, he's not even in the
100. I don't even know if Spielberg's in the 100.
I don't know either.
I don't think he is.
Crazy. But Get Out is. Parasite is. Sorry, it's
Portrait of a Lady on Fire
fire.
is.
The modern movies being in there is ridiculous. If these other directors don't have
It's a
anything,
little crazy.
it's a little crazy.
Jaws is not in the top
I think
100.
Moonlight's the other one of the modern ones,
And I
if I'm not
liked
mistaken.
all of those
I like those
films.
movies, but they have no business of Jaws and like
What is Get Out?
Nashville.
What was Get Out?
That was like in the 80s, I think.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. It's nuts. I think Parasite being see that's just my problem. I think Parasite
Get Out is like way higher than Nashville and
not
Jaws.
and Jaws and like Raiders and
I like Get Out a lot, but
I like yeah. I mean like even like Parasite. Like I love Parasite. That is a very good movie. But like number one of the century and on Sight and Sound. Like Jesus
yeah, it's a
Christ,
little crazy.
what the hell are we doing? Like not even like the best movie from that region in the last 25 years.
Meanwhile,
Um,
here we are talking about a director who has been like further legitimized by having two
yeah,
of the top 25 films
I'm
on
gonna
the Sight and
spoil
Sound
this.
top 25.
In the next year, I know for sure we will cover a director that has one in the top 25. I'm not going to say who.
Well, I know we're going to cover that by the end of this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is one, yeah, in
Yeah,
this year, but also next year too. So we will be. It sounds like we're just chiseling away at that top 25 list.
we'll get there.
We'll get there. But I'm so excited to do this series and cover Ozu. And someone honestly, when we were our last series that I don't know if we ever finished that series over at In Session Film before we made the transition over here. Well, we were doing Wong Kar Wai over there. And it was honestly, I think we had a conversation about either doing Ozu or Wong Kar Wai. And because
Mhm.
of the glorious box set, a frustrating box set because
A terribly constructed box
the
set.
the box set for Wong Kar Wai is it's beautiful to look at, but god damn it, is it a struggle to put back together and open up and everything. We decided to go with that, and so I'm really excited, Jay, to be able to do
Hmm.
this
No,
and
agreed.
cover
And I
these films.
love that Wong Kar Wai. I think you're right. Something happened. We didn't all the way finish
No, it
Wong
was
Kar
like
Wai.
either something on your end or my end,
I
but
might have had
then
like my child might have been born or something.
something like
I
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember. Yeah,
But Wong Kar Wai is rad.
yeah, love Wong Kar Wai. Maybe we'll
He's a cool guy.
circle back to that one time here and
That would be
complete that.
fun. What's
That
your
would be
favorite
fun.
Wong?
In the Mood for Love, which is in the top 25, if I'm not mistaken.
I
For
think that's in the top. Yeah,
that's like in the top
at
five,
least
right?
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
know
was
my
in
favorite,
the Chunking Express,
Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels. That's
God, I
right.
love that movie.
Those are. I remember being like kind of in the middle on that one,
I know, but
but
that's what makes us great.
yeah, that's what makes us great, buddy. So, but what do you think about just before we get into Ozu and talk about them like these lists that have been popping up like best I know we've been doing best of the decade and best of the century, but like what did you think of the New York Times one and how that was put together with like celebrities and all these other people?
The New York Times
Shout out
top
Kyle Buchanan, by
100
the way.
list. Yeah,
I've interviewed Kyle. We know Kyle. He's a really nice guy. But I was like I kind of wish it was like I don't know. It felt like your favorite celebrities are making this list, and it felt like
no,
it was a little frustrating.
I actually had no problem with the list. I
Okay,
It wouldn't have been my collection of picks, obviously, because that's
obviously.
not how these things work.
Well, like everything everywhere all at once was over the tree of life, which is
Yeah, I
which
mean
is ridiculous.
but it was not a terrible list because it wasn't the argument you could make for something like the Sight and Sound is that it is too hoity-toity,
Too criticky.
too criticky,
Hmm.
which obviously it is a critics poll.
Yeah,
And then the thing you could say about the New York Times list is that, oh, it's too populist.
populous. Yeah.
And so
So
there's
what's the
probably
divide?
somewhere in the middle.
Which is weird.
But then even when
Yeah.
you talk about the New York Times list, it's like Parasite was number one. It's not a populist movie, you know?
I don't know. It is pretty populist.
It is not. It is not.
Yeah, that's like an international box office sensation. Movie
Yeah, but
made a
you
lot of money.
go talk to somebody
People have
at
seen that movie,
work
buddy.
about Parasite. Some people have.
Yeah, people have seen that. A lot of people have seen that movie. It's a very popular
Not
movie.
compared to Avengers Endgame, you know? It's
Oh, I mean, That movie has
It's
no business being on there.
populist-ish.
That's a roller coaster ride. What the hell are you talking about? We're talking about movies here. We're not talking about Avengers Endgame. How dare you?
Yeah,
I'm just,
I
I'm,
mean,
I'm just. Jay's like, shut up, Brian. You know what I'm talking about.
the Sight and Sound 2022 list is so skewed towards
International
I don't
features,
know what to call it. Well, not even
the
well,
past.
it is certainly
It
international
it feels
heavy.
like. Can I say this about the Sight and Sound list?
You can say it. I'll let
It
you say it.
feels very
I'll,
purposeful to not have certain films that would normally be on the top of lists
it
be
feels
in
very
those.
exclusionary of
It feels purposeful.
populist
Yeah.
movies,
It
right?
feels like, oh, if you think, to your point, Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg or some of these directors should be high on this list, well, we're not going to do it. It feels kind of like performative a
To
little
me,
bit.
I agree with that to a certain extent, where it is like we are going to exclude films that
Would normally be on this
normies
list.
like.
Yeah. Which then alienates, I think.
I agree to a certain extent. Like Jean Dielman being number one
You haven't
feels
seen you haven't seen it.
odd. I haven't seen it. Um, but it is
But
sort
everybody
of
that did, but it, you know what it also did? It gave a lot of people the chance
it
that had
did. And
never
if
seen it to go and
and
watch
if
it.
somebody goes into the exercise saying I want to expose people to great cinema, and they're like, for that reason, I'm going to put this at number one. I totally understand that.
It's
Yeah,
not the
In
way
the Mood
you
for
would
Love was
probably do
number
it.
five.
Was it number 5? Okay.
Yeah, so
What was the
very,
top
very
5?
high up there. Jean Dielman, Vertigo, Citizen Kane, Tokyo Story. Hello,
Hello. Talk
In the
about
Mood
that in
for
a couple
Love.
weeks. All right.
Yeah,
Tokyo Story better than In the Mood for Love. We'll have to discuss that. Um, yeah. And Vertigo and that's the other thing. It's like Vertigo and Citizen Kane that makes total sense. But then like yeah, The Godfather was like knocked down. I don't know where Casablanca was if it was even on the list.
The
Like some of the like
Godfather
the
is. I mean, The Godfather's high up there. The Godfather's 12,
12. But see, people would normally think that's in the 10.
but Casablanca's in 63.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
interesting.
Yeah. It's wild. Where was like Singing in the Rain?
Singing in the Rain was very high, and that might have been
Okay.
top 10.
Okay. Well then that's fair.
Singing in the Rain was 10.
Those are like
Yes.
the classics. Like those are like there's a reason why Jay those are high on the list.
I'm
Like
honestly kind of surprised that Citizen Kane was still number three and Vertigo still number two.
Citizen Kane. And you know what? Gotta say that movie
Those are two
Citizen
great
Kane
films.
is pretty goddamn great.
Yeah.
It's a pretty perfect movie. And Vertigo, absolute banger. What a great film. It's good. Those are all good movies we just mentioned.
They are.
And so, but anyway, Ozu. We're here to talk about Ozu. We're here to talk
Mhm.
about this first film in this new series, which is kind of crazy. We're already
Which
in a
is
new series.
Ozu's like 30th film, 40th
But
film.
really his first film post the war. Because
Not his first film, but
but his
his
first
first
big
very kind of
big
canonical
yeah,
film
exactly.
since the war. Yeah.
And this is of course late spring is what we're here to talk about today. Jay, of course you are reading a book entitled Ozu.
It's called Ozu.
And just kind of a little bit, buddy, of the background, I guess, of Ozu up front, the films he was making before the wars, the films he was making during the wars. A very interesting
Mhm.
guy and a very interesting filmmaker. Before we dive into this first film, what did you discover on your read, buddy?
Yeah, so I am reading this book called Ozu from Donald Ritchie. That book is less a biography than sort of an analysis of his technique, which is interesting. But Ozu himself, born in Tokyo in 1903, he only lived to be 60. He died in 1963 on his birthday. He died on his birthday.
Crazy.
Yeah, so
Would
that's
you
interesting.
would you want to die on your birthday?
No, I would rather celebrate my birthday
The day after, though,
like a week after.
like give yourself a week.
Because if I die the day after, that would probably imply that I'm sick
Okay.
on my birthday. But if it was like a heart attack on my
Wasn't
birthday,
that
that's
kind
a
of
good
like
way to go.
wasn't that kind of like Jimmy Carter?
Um, I
Like,
don't know.
because Jimmy Carter was well, I mean, like Jimmy
I
Carter was
should know
very,
as a Georgian, but
that's fair. But no, I thought he like turned in like I know he passed away like very shortly after, I think. But he was in really bad health towards the end of it. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So born in Tokyo, 1903, to a working family. He had some health problems as a child. By the time he was sort of in high school, he was skipping school to go see movies. I think it's hilarious to think of somebody go skipping school to go see movies in like 1920, like just going to the theater and watching these silent films. But it's a very cool thing to imagine. And he did start making movies in the silent industry, and he started being, I think, like an assistant cinematographer, and then he got in a fight with somebody on set, and then he had to go see the head of the studio to determine whether he would still have a job or not. And he gave him a script, and he was like, "Okay, this script is really good. I would like you to direct a movie for me, please and thank you." So that's how he got started in the directing game. Then he did some mandatory military service. During wartime, he became a propaganda filmmaker, really,
And we're talking about World
in
War II.
World War II.
Yeah.
And
The
in
the
between
war
those
that you
periods,
think that isn't covered enough.
we don't talk about it enough. In between, like from the late 20s to the early 40s, he was making so many
Like
movies.
3 movies a year.
It
He
was
was
crazy. He
he
was
was
like
Marvel.
Howard Hawks on steroids, just making stuff, comedies, dramas. They all generally were about traditional Japanese families and the dissolution of Japanese families, which continued on after wartime, just in kind of a different way. And in my reading, it sort of seems like obviously you have your Kurosawas, your Miyazakis. Um, it seems to be if you say who is the most Japanese director, Ozu seems to be kind of the consensus when it comes to that. And I think you see that in this film. And I look forward to going back and watching many of his earlier films, silent films included, and kind of exploring that idea. But just the very idea, Ryan, did you notice the sort of POV of many of the shots in this film and where they were positioned?
I felt like they were just like kind of, I don't know, it kind of felt like they were from a side or from the ground up and directly on just, maybe I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but it just felt like everything was, there were a lot of shots of just our main character smiling or just like a side, like it kind of felt like the movies. I'm not trying to give anything away, but it felt like some
No.
interestingly edited, honestly,
No, it did.
of
Well,
the movie.
interestingly edited in the fact that it's all static shots,
Yeah.
and you know where they're mostly shot from is from what is called the tatami position, which is his idea was I want to shoot most of my film from the eye level of people sitting down at a
Yeah.
traditional
It's
Japanese
usually a
table.
lot of like looking up or like to
Static
the
shots
eyes. Yeah.
looking up at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too far off. Okay.
You weren't
Because
too far
I
off. Like,
wasn't too
don't give
far off.
yourself too
I'm
much
not going to
credit.
get, no, because I never can give myself too much credit on this show.
Not on a show with me, certainly.
No.
Um,
That's the
but
good thing about us working together after all these years is that we can just check ourselves before we ever start trying to pat ourselves too much on the back.
absolutely. But it is he's a very specific filmmaker. He's a filmmaker as concerned with the details as, a Kubrick.
No, very much so. I was,
Which is interesting, and it's something that you wouldn't necessarily realize when you watch his films for the first time. And when you watch this film, because his resources were very clearly limited, but he was so detailed, so specific in his style, and also so narrative secondary,
it's very
right?
meticulous in his
He's more
style.
about the people in the story, not the
Yeah.
people propelling the story forward.
It's more about character than plot.
Absolutely, it
Hmm.
is. And he also over time seems to have used similar themes over and over and over again, but done it with a formal perspective that has absolutely captured the interest
No, I
of
was when I was
cinephiles for many, many, many years.
when I was reading him, I was thinking a lot back to our first series when we were talking about Todd Haynes. A lot about somebody that is very interested in the era's domesticity and the
Hmm.
fears and the anxieties that can come from that, and then also
Oh, and
what
absolutely
what
post
what,
post
what
war era.
post-war, what what society says about that, and then what are those characters, how do they branch out, or are they consumed by their surroundings, and what is, what is in, what is out. It's, Haynes is such a very interesting person when it comes to that. Like, that's why, I know we never got to do that episode
Haynes
on
rocks, man.
about May December, but it's such an interesting kind of chamber piece to add to his wardrobe of films.
Great movie.
Such a great
I
movie.
think that was
And
a top
so,
five film of that year for me.
oh, easily top five. I think it was top three for me that year. Definitely one of my favorite films of the decade so far.
And there's that
But
Counting Crows song, May December. It's been a May
I think it's a
December.
long December, not
Oh,
a May
sorry.
December.
Okay.
And once again, you were almost right, but you
And
were
there's
wrong.
reason to believe. Okay.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
I'm looking up where that
Who
exactly
would have thought
ranked
an
that year.
Ozu Counting Crows crossover would be happening
Hmm.
on this episode? But no, yeah, I was when I was watching it, I was thinking about that in terms of just theme. But then, yeah, I'm not gonna like try to speak too much, but it was like a little bit of like when you watch. I don't know, when I
Unfortunately,
watch.
it was number six for me that year.
Oh, okay. When I watch like Park Chan Wook films, and I watch even, I mean, to a certain extent, and this is like a very over the topness of it too, but it's like Wes Anderson's films as well too, where the
I
environment,
saw
and
some Linklater.
Linklater as well too, where the environment and character is much more the focus, and the plot is shaggy, and
Very shaggy plot.
and very much can go in the way in which kind of
And it's very specific, but not necessarily stylized.
no, but it feels very
It's
lived
very much
in.
about realism.
Yeah, and so you
I'll
buy
tell you what it
into it.
reminded me of
Yeah.
was Brief Encounter, weirdly, which is more of a melodrama, but
Oh,
it
little
feels like
lean.
such a contained story.
Was that on the Sight and Sound list?
It
There's no
was
way it's not. That
somewhere.
movie's.
I believe it was in the top 100.
You
It
know,
might have actually been Lean's highest rated film.
can I say, the more I thought about it, as much as I love Lawrence of Arabia, I think that might be Lean's best film.
It was 211. Lawrence of Arabia was 133.
It was 211,
211. Yeah,
and Lawrence of Arabia was 133.
133. It's kind of both of those feel too low.
Yeah, too low. But we had to
Yeah.
put Get Out ahead of it. Um,
Where was Get Out? I'm looking it up now.
you got to look this up now. This is going to drive me nuts.
All right,
Not
Get
that
Out
the
as the 95th best film of all time is
Jesus,
a little bananas.
Get Out over Lawrence of Arabia. More like get the fuck out of here with that. Like,
The
geez Louise.
Get Out is tied with Once Upon a Time in the West,
God
and
damn it. And
nine spots ahead of Jaws and The Godfather Part Two, and
we're doing good.
13 spots ahead of The Wizard of Oz
What?
and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and Bringing Up Baby. 20 spots ahead of Nashville.
Okay, you need to stop because I'm about to get very fucking angry right now. Good Lord, I forgot how
20, maybe 30 spots ahead of The Thing and about 35 spots ahead of There Will Be Blood and The Matrix.
Jay.
Um,
God damn it.
yeah.
Listen,
So
I like Jordan Peele a lot.
that's what we're dealing
I
with.
like Jordan Peele a lot, but
I like Get Out quite a bit, but
I think it's actually my least favorite film of his. But I know you. I know
I
you're not a
don't like
Nuss guy.
Us.
I know you're not
I
a Nuss
don't
guy.
I don't like Us.
I just think Us has so much going for it, and the performance from Lupita's so good. That's why it's just the one that I go back to more. But like, I understand. I mean, like, Get Out was a phenomenon. I get that, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, Ozu, late spring. That's what we're here to talk about.
It's just an interesting that the sight and sound list is so interesting because it does feel combative in a certain way.
No, it doesn't feel, it feels like it took all those people's lists, and somebody was sitting there that compiled and was like, no, fuck it, I'm going to do my own. It feels like an alien went
Well,
in with
maybe
this.
even more
A
than that,
troll.
it just feels like I'm gonna try and get this film, which might not necessarily be my favorite, but I would love if it was represented
It feels like antagonistic.
on the list.
It kind of does.
To a certain extent it does. I mean,
I
John Gilman
understand
at
that these
one.
I understand these movies have to have like these lists are to invoke conversation. But when you've have I mean, for like The Wizard of Oz, almost like 100 years of people saying this is one of the greatest films of all time, and a movie that hadn't been out like what, even a decade, is like 40
Well,
spots
there's
ahead of
that,
it. It's
and
like,
then
what
there's
the fuck
also
are we
like
doing?
I kind of find it hard to believe that in 2022 everybody was like, yes, absolutely. Sunrise, A Song to Two Humans is the 11th greatest film of all time. You know?
Yeah. And you know what? I think more people have seen Get Out than probably that film.
Yeah.
But
So it's an
it's
interesting exercise.
it's
I
also,
would love to kind of do like what actually goes on with these lists?
yeah, I would like to dive in more because like if because they put out all the people's lists,
Is there a
right?
group text where they were like, we're going to get Man with a Movie Camera in the top 10? We're going to do it.
Well, it's just like when consensus happens in lists, the more people that do it, the more the popular films tend to be high up
In theory, but they
in theory,
weren't
but
with
they
this.
weren't. So that's why this thing it was
Which
always
makes it
suspects to me.
interesting too. I mean, I'm
Makes it
glad
interesting, but
that
I want to know their math to it. Damn it, because like that's the
I
thing
know.
with like the New York Times one, which I think that that's more legitimate. It's like a movie like Parasite because it's one of the modern masterpieces of the last 5 years. It's a lot of people that like the last great moment that they had before the pandemic was seeing Parasite win Best Picture,
But
right?
the thing about that was it was just movies of the last 25 years.
No, I understand, but still, like Mulholland Drive and There Will Be Blood, like the movies that we would
Yeah.
assume would be on the top of those lists, like Spirited Away and Social Network. Some of these films they were high up there too. It's just that Parasite's also like highly rated on Letterboxd. It's one of the most
But
popular
then they
films
do
up
something
there.
like put Night of the Hunter at 25, and I'm like, great work, everyone. Good job.
Exactly. So then they sneak in everyone every now and then. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, I can't get too mad at this. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about Late Spring, buddy. And this is obviously a first time watch for both of us. All these films, I believe, will be first time watches on this series for
Never seen
us.
an Ozu film before,
So this
which
is
makes this a daunting,
makes it
daunting
daunting, but I
exercise.
also think this is going to be just a great journey
But
for
it
the
makes it so
listeners
enjoyable.
to
Yeah.
go on
And for
a,
us,
a newly
most
discovered. Yeah,
importantly.
I mean, I gotta say this. Like, I
Man,
love
the
the.
piano was 50. That's crazy.
You gotta stop looking at the list
I love that
because you're
movie,
gonna.
but
I know, but you're gonna be like distracted during the review. So
mhm.
can you shut it off?
Okay, exiting now.
Thank you. He's gonna bring this up in about five
Didn't
minutes. I
exit
know.
out. Man, Moonlight is 60. That's interesting. Moonlight 3 spots ahead of Casablanca
Okay. Stop it. You're just saying things now to
and
get me
three
distracted.
spots ahead of Goodfellas.
We're here to talk about
I love
Late Spring.
Moonlight, but
Stop it, or I will kill you. Um, but yes, it's always great to do this because, like I said, we we love talking about movies and directors that we love or we have thoughts already. But to do this discovery is always fun because then we get to go on this journey, just like with you guys, the listeners out there, for the first time as well. If this is the first time you've seen it, or maybe y'all are more of Ozu fans than we are, so we get to see if we screwed up maybe one of your favorite directors
do you know
in the
what the
process
highest
for the
rated
next 7 weeks.
Miyazaki film is? And this
Spirited,
is connected because he's a Japanese filmmaker.
Spirited Away,
Totoro.
Totoro. Okay, that's
Hmm.
fair. It's a good movie though.
I love that film.
When
It's
are
a
you going to
great
show the
film.
kid Miyazaki?
Already done it. He likes it.
Okay, good.
Totoro. He's seen Totoro. He thinks it's very entertaining.
Totoro's very good. I think
Hmm.
Porco Rosso he would like because of the planes.
Yeah, and like the fascism.
Yeah,
Um,
he's big into that these
the
days.
reflection on fascism. Yeah.
Yeah, he's big into that. He's been talking to you a lot about Magdani and all that stuff going on
Hmm.
there. Yeah. Your thoughts on Late Spring?
Yeah, late spring. It is. So I'm reading a book for this again. It's called Ozu by Donald Ritchie.
Hmm.
And as an American viewer, I do feel like reading about the context of Japan adds so much to the experience of watching this movie.
Yeah.
And it it is a film also that I think as a parent I connect to so much more, but also as a child you understand it fully as well. This idea of the absolute attached at the hip connection between a parent and a child, and how inevitably that is going to disconnect. But as a parent, that idea of cutting them off, especially in Eastern culture, where as soon as your child marries, you kind of lose a part of your collective self in that moment, where you have these very important units. There's your work unit, there's your family unit, there's your community unit, and in one fell swoop, you can lose a lot if your daughter gets married to somebody. But also, it's just sort of the way that things progress. And when you combine that idea of natural progression with a man who has lost his wife and lies to his daughter about trying to get married again so that she will get married and move forward in her life, while also understanding that losing her to marriage is devastating. It is devastating. I think it's so moving and so touching. And you just talk about formally, this is a film that is so patient and focused and specific. It's a film that has such a confidence to it. It's kind of odd to say that a movie that is this patient and languid is too negative a term to use for it, but it's and so is stagnant. But a movie that is this comfortable being still. To say that a movie like that is so confident seems odd on its face, but this is a movie that believes in itself fully and believes that that stillness is part is fully a feature and not a bug, and that stillness implies a sense of uh, comfort, but also a sense of, how much comfort is too much comfort in this circumstance, where you do understand that these people are completely at peace with their current existence, with an understanding that there is an inevitability where the father is not going to be around and the daughter should be striving for something else. What that else is not entirely clear, but she can't just continue to be the knee bending daughter of this successful, kind businessman. And the sacrifices that are made by all parties involved is incredibly moving. It is a film that is so unconventional from the perspective of an American moviegoer, an American cinephile. And it makes me excited to continue to watch Ozu's films, because you can look at Kurosawa, obviously another Japanese master, but you can say Kurosawa was inspired by Shakespeare. Kurosawa is the guy that inspired Star Wars. He had a lot of Western sensibilities to him.
Yeah.
Ozu is something very different, and Ozu is something very specific and much more comfortable in a slower environment. And as the beginning of this series, and I'm gonna continue to go back and watch his older films, but as this first exercise with Ozu, I was extremely moved by the film, not just because of the content of the film, but the way that it was presented. It's a it's a pretty masterful movie in a lot of ways. I'm not sure I would call it the 21st best movie of all time, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, I didn't know what to sort of expect of this first film that we were doing. I kind of briefly read a plot synopsis of it. And the plot synopsis is kind of a perfect encapsulation
I
of
just
like,
don't think we'll be able to do plot synopses with Ozu.
no,
It just
it's not, but it was sort of about, I mean, the basic broad strokes of this movie, which is about a father wanting a better life for their child. And that is the broad strokes of how you can get somebody into this, but clearly that's not what this movie is. This movie is, you could say that in terms of like what it's presenting here, it's a pretty, it's like a 2 hour film, but it's got such simplistic storytelling, but it's got such,
It is. It's surprisingly long for what it is.
yeah, but it's also very patient with characters to make decisions, which is not what you normally would expect from filmmaking, even now, let alone back then, Jay, because to your point, like, even to use someone like Kurosawa, like that's bombastic, massive storytelling that is then used generationally to influence an entire wave of cinema that we now know to be how the modern blockbuster is. And this is what you can do with the form in terms of pace that we normally just don't get to see. And that's why when I was watching this, not to call it already, but I was like, oh, Jay and I are going to have a really great time talking about these movies because Jay, this is a movie entirely about like, you could feel a director and what they have gone through in the process of making a movie like this. I haven't seen Ozu's other films, but just reading up on him like you have to know that, making films post war in World War II is it's got a tug on the soul a
In
little bit.
Japan, especially. Yeah.
Especially, yes. And it's got to like just you got to start thinking about maybe some bigger things. And he has made domestic dramas and movies about his country for years, even during the war,
Yeah.
just to
Some of
get
them comedies, some of
some
them
of
more
them,
action oriented, but
yeah,
he sort of found his lane
here.
post World
And
War II, and I think his films became more cynical as well, which I'm very opposed to.
no, no, but I think you're right. I mean, like this is weirdly a movie about a director talking about the future of his country, and at least for me, and the relationship of using what a new generation can do in spite of the old ways that ended up in stubbornness or just in the past and caused and that are essentially a lot gone. There's a lot of destruction and death, obviously,
It's a
of
new
what happened in World
world.
War II. It's a brand new world. And so the old rules don't have to apply. And it doesn't have to be this broad, giant epic. It can just be about like the old ways say that Noroko should find a husband, have a family, her father has
It's
grandchildren, and that is her life.
it's a very
And
conservative film in a lot of ways
yeah.
as far as its values.
And for even just like a very nice man who like it's very
Yeah,
nice
it's just
and
like about nice people being nice and wanting good things for their family.
yes, I mean Shikiki is
But it's
is
also
like
about the
just a really nice
sadness that
guy.
comes along about this. I mean
Exactly.
that is the power of this movie is the last 20 minutes,
Well, yeah,
right?
even like the happiest day of her life is she's crying.
But even she, yeah,
You know,
she doesn't want to really be there. Her
she's
father honestly probably doesn't really want her to be there, but he
well,
understands,
when I was saying earlier
I'm going
about
to outlive her. And
yeah, I
so she
mean,
needs something.
well, this movie like throughout it, you see Naroku smiling a lot when she's talking because she's happy with her, going in her day to day life and taking care of her father, who's a widower, and they've had this one child, right? And
Hmm.
she's 27,
Hmm.
and she's knocking on the
Back
door of
then,
30.
that's old.
That's old, and she's okay filling in
Washed.
the filling in the gaps for the latter part of her father's life that her mother would have been there for. And she's okay with that because, and which is kind of a really mature thing to do in a lot of ways, because taking care of a parent is not an easy task.
It
Not
is,
that
and it
like
isn't.
in, well, hang on, Jay. Is that, but
No,
also
enough
too,
out of you. if I
um,
could correct you.
is that I think that also though you're giving up a lot, and the idea of then giving up your entire life, and that's where he comes in, where he's talking about like, I want her to have something beyond taking care of me. A parent doesn't want their child to have to sit around and watch them die. They want them to have a better life than what they have and what they were able to give them. That's, I mean, Jay, that's going to be the thing for you. It's like you don't want your son to be around you your entire life to take care of
Yeah,
you. You want them to
I might
someday
actually
they're going to,
start crying during this episode because the reality of parenting that I think this movie really captures incredibly well
yeah,
is that it is a great tragedy that you're not going to be able to see your child live their entire life.
yeah,
But there also is a beauty knowing, or at least believing, that they will continue to lead a great existence without you. And to one extent or another, sort of extend your own legacy and carry you with them throughout your life. And that is what her father is trying to do here, is to contribute to her continued, I mean, contribute to like the rest of her existence. He would feel like he was a failure to one extent or another if she wasn't able to find that sort of domestic bliss. And he's worried about her being stuck in some sort of arrested development,
mhm.
living with her father for the rest of her life, which is a it, it's it, it's a
Well,
beautiful sacrifice that he makes at the end of the film.
yeah,
Uh,
because like,
and especially in the context of a different culture, it
yeah,
has an entirely different meaning than me watching it if it was, an American film. In 1940s Japan, it means something very different and something honestly a little more powerful and potent, and that's beautiful.
but it also does cross cultures because some cultures they do want to hang on as long as possible and don't want to let go.
Well,
Some
look,
people,
a lot of kids now in America, they want to live in their parents' basement forever.
well, yeah, I mean, they want to stay on that insurance until they're 25 years old. All right, buddy. You know
I
what I
did
mean?
that.
And but
When was
there's
the first time you made a car payment?
when I was in college.
No, I was way after that.
Oh, really? You were way after that?
I think I was like 28.
Yeah, it was like my senior year is when started paying the car payments on that. But I had to
I
I turned in my first car I turned in because I like drove it and I had got cash
Yeah.
value back, and then I started making payments on it like in my senior year of
I
college.
got handed down an older car, but I kept that thing running. That bad boy had about 240,000 miles on it when I turned it in.
What do you drive now?
Nissan Murano.
Is that a minivan? I don't know what
No, it's not like an SUV.
it's like an SUV. Oh, okay.
It's not a very
What
big
was your
car.
first car?
My very first car, like high school car,
Yeah. Oh, you
Nissan
had a high school.
Xterra, baby.
Oh, okay. I
That's a
just brought
top heavy. That's asking to get tipped over.
I just borrowed my dad's car
That was a
or
top
my
heavy
mom's
vehicle.
car. My parents just let me borrow their
No, I had
car.
a car in high school, a Nissan Xterra.
Oh, all right. And then in college, was it the same or
Oh yeah, I had the Xterra through college.
okay? And then what was your first car out of college? Was it what you have now?
My college gift was an Infinity FX35.
Oh, wow. All
An
right.
older one though. It was an
Oh,
older one.
all right, Mr. Fancy. All right. Okay.
It was a great car though.
There you go. Was that your favorite car?
Um, no, you know what my favorite car was the one that got totaled in a
No. Yeah.
horrific car accident,
Yeah.
which was a Hyundai Palisade. Great car.
That car seemed well. That was also a great car
Saved
because
my
it saved.
son's life. I
Yeah.
mean, really
Well,
and
and
truly.
y'all too.
Now you're really gonna make me cry. Um,
I'd say my favorite
yeah.
car. I'd say my favorite car is the one I have now. Is my
What do you
Rav4.
got? What are you rocking with these
I have
days?
a Toyota Rav4 hybrid, and
Oh, it's nice.
and I love it. This thing is. I fill it up maybe once every 2.5 weeks. It's
And then
wonderful.
my wife had the Murano that I am currently driving, and after the Palisade got totaled and my son almost died, uh, we got a Telluride. So she has a
Oh,
Telluride.
okay. So that's the closest you've been to Telluride.
That is the closest. I'm actually in a Telluride I'm in Telluride very regularly. You
Oh
only get
yeah.
to go there once a year. I get to go there 4 or 5 times a week.
That's very fair. Is it chilly right now in there?
Every time I get in there, that the AC
The elevation's
is
killing
is
you.
is is hitting. Is it just scorching in Texas right now?
Yeah.
We are dying.
I went on a walk. This is just going to be like great because everybody's going to hear this in August, which I mean, like, to be fair, it's the hottest and as
I'm just
can
trying to
get
get
out
my
in
mind
August.
off of my son almost dying. So anything you got, I'll
Sorry,
be
buddy.
happy about.
Sorry to bring that up. I was just asking about cars. You brought that up
No, I think
entirely
about it
yourself.
every day by myself, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Do you like turn on the Hello Darkness, My Old Friend songs?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
listen to Simon and Garfunkel
Garfunkel. No,
and My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance. Is that a band of our? That's definitely a band of our generation for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We're
Did
like
you
primo age for that.
did you see them live?
No, no,
No,
they
no.
were not one of my bands, but they're
Where you're
our
like a
age for
Fallout Boy?
sure.
No, I'm just kidding. All American Rejects.
Blink, man. I
Blink.
did like All American Rejects. All American Rejects, one of the earliest CDs I bought. The
Yeah.
I can't remember what the album was
Where
called,
they
but
were
it had
all on the front.
swing on it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um,
Still think
yeah,
it's a good song.
it's crazy. I went for a walk the other day at like 10:30 because I was like, okay, 10:30, I'll be safe to go for like a 45-minute walk outside. And I was sucking air down because it was so humid and
It's
hot.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
I went up, we have a giant hill in our neighborhood, and I went up it and I was like, and it's not because like I'm out of shape, or it's not because like I don't walk this thing every day, but it just, when you start to feel the day shift when you're like the first half of the walk, I was like, oh, this
Oh,
is
dude.
nice.
The
And
the
then it
the
shifts. And then you're like, God, this is the worst thing. I would never wish this upon my enemy. Well, maybe some enemies, but definitely not the lower end of the enemies. And I was just like, I had to come inside, get the water immediately, sit in front of a standing fan. And I
the
was good to
thing I
go.
dread right now more than anything is like a short rain shower.
God, like a spitting outside.
No, just like like 30 minutes of compressed
We
rain.
don't get that. We get 10 minutes and then
Oh,
it's
we
and
get
then it's
that. All of a
humid.
sudden, I
And
live in Florida.
yeah, we get like no,
It's
but
gotten
you know
ridiculous.
what I'm talking about, where it's rains for like a small amount of time, and then
And then the heat remains, but
and
it's
then it
just
comes
like
back,
stupid
and it
humid.
takes all the moisture and it just makes it
Yeah, it's
just
like a sauna.
yeah, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, what do you think about Late Spring?
I think it's a wonderful film,
Yeah, it's a great film.
and I think you were hitting it right on the head. I mean, like, this is an interesting movie for me, at least, too, about the fact that it's got like kind of culture clashing the like ideas, right? Because there is this idea of taking care of your elders and being responsible for those that are, that are older than you and wiser than you. And and she takes it, I think, a little bit too much to the extreme to like not be able to see life. And then he's doing this sort of deceitful act, a playful deceitful act, not like a terribly deceitful act, but still there's morality and sin, like, that's kind of inside, like internally between them. He's just like, I kind of had to lie in order to get her out of the house and to finally like get her out of the nest. But then there's just these moments of real beauty, and it's really moments of silence that these characters are and the audience get to really sit on the choices that they have to make, Jay. Like the scene where like they're seeing the, like, what is it, like the performance, or
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. The song. Yes, I don't
yeah,
know
the
exactly
song.
what that performance is called, but
But they're all sitting there and they're very respectful. And I think she realizes that, you know, he's right and her aunt's right, and her aunt's kind of very funny in this movie, to me, because that's, once you get the other family members involved, that's where I think a little bit of the comedy comes in, and it can be a little bit lighter of a touch of what he's trying to do here. But then, I mean, that moment. So when before I got married, I have a very close relationship with my parents, but really with my dad. And before I got married, I was post college, and before I got in the apartment with my wife that we had before we got married, and then you know afterwards, I was staying shortly back home with my dad, and we would see it would be kind of like how it was in high school, where I'd see him a little bit, we'd have dinner, and then I'd go do my own thing or whatever. And when I was making the move and we were moving the boxes and we were finally like me and my wife are getting moved in, uh, it kind of like we had a dinner, me and him at the house, and it felt like an end of an era, and it felt like a closing chapter, even though like I still see my dad all the time. We
Hmm.
go and do our own things. And like that's the thing now. It's like I'm married. He's doing his own stuff, and he's like on the other side of town, and we can see each other whenever, and we text each other. Like we were literally texting each other today about like football and all this different other shit. But like when the Longhorns have the spring game, right, Jay? It's just
Hmm.
me and him. We go do that. And it kind of was reminding me a lot of like them going on this trip in this movie. And it's like the last time that they're going to be able to do that because she's about to get married. She's about to make this decision. And it just felt so relatable, even though this is like 70, 80 years apart, about like at a certain point, you see your child or you see your parent every single day, and they are a vital thing. And at a certain point, those things or those trips or those moments, they become more memories than they become more frequent things in your life. And like we would go to
Hmm.
the coast all the time, we would go to games, we would do all this stuff. And now just because of me being older and things like that, like we don't do all that stuff. So the moments that we do have where they're individualized, they do matter a little bit more because of the fact that we're not going to see that person, maybe at one time your favorite person on the planet every single day.
Hmm.
And he's trying to put a light spin on it. But someone in that relationship is always going to feel what she feels, which is she's going to be hit with a ton of bricks of realizing, maybe not necessarily in that moment, but maybe it's on a car ride home, or maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks later, that like, wow, this is it. Like that portion of your life
Hmm.
is gone and you have to move on
Yeah.
because that's what time does, but that's just how it's supposed to be. And it's so heartbreaking. And then when she's sitting up there, it's supposed to be her most important day, and she's glamorous and gorgeous. She's still got the same somberness
Yeah.
that she had when her father and her are packing up before they're gone.
It
And
is. Well, when they're on that last vacation, man, and like this is the last time we're ever gonna get to do it this way.
so devastating.
It's these are going to be very interesting movies to talk about because it's hard to talk about. I don't know if I would define this film as like true slow cinema,
No,
as has become kind of like a
kind
popular
of snuck
term
up
to
on me,
use,
honestly.
but they are films that are plotless in ways that hit you in very personal ways that to me I'm just like I want to talk about how I feel about the idea of when you become untethered from your parents in a certain way, right?
Did you have a feeling like that, Jay? Do you have a moment when you ever felt like that, or
I don't even know if I have, I think about a very recent moment where um my parents just bought a new house and they moved 4 hours closer to me in
hmm,
an effort to see my son more, was really to see their grandson more.
fair?
I think was a lot of the motivation.
Okay.
And um they're still further away. And the idea of doing that I think is very noble, and it's great. But even if you live 2.5, 2 hours, 15 minutes away, how many times are you actually going to see each other? I think it's probably 5 times a year.
Can I tell you this? My mom just recently moved. She was about and 45 minutes to an hour away from us, from where
Hmm.
our house is. And she would always talk about how like she never sees us, we never go up there. And it's like, yeah, because it's an hour
Yeah.
away. It's a lot to drive back and forth, and
The difference
especially on
between an
weekends.
hour and 3 hours is
So
weirdly
at
like not that much.
no, it's not.
There's a point where it becomes a hurdle.
I
And
think
it's
the app
probably about
45 minutes, 30 to
yeah,
45 minutes.
30 is fine. I think 45 minutes to an hour
Yeah, that's really
is
when
kind
you
of
start.
it.
You're like, when you're a town
And
over.
it's like we live in different communities.
Yeah, we lived literally in different cities. My mom
Yeah.
recently moved now 15 minutes away.
Hmm.
And I've probably seen her in the last month more than I have in the last
Yeah.
2.5 years at her place, because it's just when you're closer to, it doesn't feel like it's a stone's throw away rather than a journey to get there. So what
And then
your parent,
if that is your priority, then that's what you should do. And it seems like this is a very family forward movie, but
yeah.
that's a very, I think, Eastern culture idea. Like my parents are now 2 hours away. They now consider that easily accessible. I'm like,
Well, they're
not
retired too,
really,
right?
but they are retiring, and
Yeah.
my dad wanted to
Same with
be
my
on a
mom.
golf course, and they want to be on a lake. So instead of being close, the way that they'll incentivize
Oh,
us
the
going to see them
grandkids. Yeah.
is by going on the lake and living on a golf course, which is a pretty good strategy to
That's
be
just,
honest, but
yeah.
a very Western strategy.
Exactly.
Um,
Well,
so
it's a little bit of like we can have it all, right? Or they're like, we can see, like, we're closer to the grandkid and our son, but also if you guys wanted to come to us, we have all these
right.
amenities, you know what I mean, to come
It's
and
still a little bit of a
incentivize.
haul for
Yeah,
y'all, but it's a lot easier for us now.
exactly.
Right.
And no, for sure.
But it is,
Um,
but even then, it is a weird moment where suddenly you're like, I'm not gonna see my parents every week,
yeah.
right? That's a weird thing. I used to see my parents every single day, you know?
I'm very lucky because we have a weekly dinner out with my dad every week. And my wife comes with me and we're able to do that. Now there are some nights where we're doing shows or I've got screenings and stuff, but then my wife goes and has dinner with him. You know what I mean? And
Your wife has parents or has dinner with your parents.
with my dad, yeah,
That's awesome.
it's
With
awesome.
your dad, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And
I love my in-laws, but I would never do
I love
that.
my in-laws too. I think they're great. Like if I
But they
have
live
it,
2.5 hours away
yeah,
too.
that's
So
fair. Yeah.
yeah.
But like, and
I
she
would go
and like
visit them with just Jet though,
my
but
mom, well, yeah, you seem to
I
have
don't
like
know.
a good,
Yeah.
a good relationship with your
Yeah, they're
in-laws
good. I
from,
watched
yeah.
the latest Netflix garbage with my
With your
father-in-law.
father-in-law. Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems
I'll
to think
watch
you're
what's come
pretty
out on
cool.
Netflix recently.
Did you watch like Havoc with him?
No, I still gotta watch Havoc.
I think Havoc would be a
That's one
great watch with him.
I kind of wanted to watch.
With
It's
him.
because that's
Yeah. Gareth.
Gareth
Yeah.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy.
Tom
Yeah.
Hardy. It sounds kind of good.
You gonna watch Happy Gilmore with him? Or did you already
I've
watch
already
that?
watched Happy Gilmore, my
God,
man.
what an abomination of a movie.
Great film.
You did not like that movie. Don't start.
We're covering Kyle. What's his name? His first name is Kyle. I can't remember his last name. He's the workaholics guy.
Oh yeah. That's right. Um, yeah, I didn't like that movie at all.
He directed that film.
But anyway, I is that like the crazy haired guy?
He's the guy with the no. That's Blake.
Okay.
He was in Workaholics. He was the kind of behind the scenes guy, but he
Oh,
also
okay.
played the like stoner friend guy, who I
Oh, okay,
believe
okay.
in the show his
He
name was
wasn't one of the
Kyle as
he wasn't
well.
one of the
He was not
main
one of the
guys.
big three.
Yeah,
No.
okay. Anyway, but yeah, no, I mean like she'll even go when I'm like at the festival, she'll go out with my mom. And I think that it's great. But I know too that, one day that's not going to be there. And it's and so that's why, like, there's this interesting thing, and I'll get real personal here for a second. This past week, I went out to dinner with him, and he looked at me and he said like, hey, make sure you're there for dinner on Tuesday. My dad never says that. Never says that. And I'm like, what's so special about Tuesday? He goes, nothing. I just want you there. And I had no idea what that meant.
That's beautiful, man. And that's
It
a
was,
beautiful, like, small moment. I think it speaks
and it speaks,
very
and so then,
positively to this movie that it makes you think about stuff like that.
yeah. So then, like, when I was watching this, like, I came home from that dinner, watched this movie, I went, that son of a bitch. Like, he's
Man,
tapping into this thing, you know?
that almost made me cry right now, man.
Yeah, I'm
I gotta
sorry.
tell you, between talking about this movie and that's like beautiful.
No, I mean, like, but that's like this. It's like that thing of like he's packing the bags, and
But it is this like
there's just
it's
something about an old man that wants to spend time with you. You know what I mean?
it's inextricable ties that are broken that you have to find ways to stay bound.
Jay, did I tell you? I've
You
told
know?
you. I told you what my dad said when I saw when I took him to the Fablemans, right? Did I ever
Yeah,
tell you
you
that
said
story?
like I'm sick of seeing movies with you, I think.
So my dad, I always kind of wanted to do something like this. You know that. And then and then I stumbled upon this post college and was able to start doing this podcasting and reviewing and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And then I met you, you silly goose.
Hmm.
And my dad, I took him to some press screenings over the years. Like I took him to Maverick, and he was bragging about it in the office, and
Ah,
and
that's
uh,
so cool.
and I would get screeners, and he'd come over to the house and watch them with me during screener year, and like catch up on stuff that he wasn't able to see in the theaters. We go to the Fablemans, and the rows are like the rows are got the reserved seats, and he's done this with me many times. Like these are where the critics sit. We sit right in the middle, and Jackie Early Haley walked into the room, and he was there, and some other
Is he a
celebrity.
Texas guy? Was he
Yeah,
there
he
for
lives
something else?
he lives in San Antonio.
No,
Straight up.
really?
Yeah, and a
And then he
couple
walked in
other.
and he said, I'm not in here with you.
You're in
in here
here
with
with
me.
me.
And
Exactly.
he was like, I'm just trying to watch a movie.
I was just like, the credits are starting, Jackie. Sit down. Take off the mask. God, it's 2022. You got a booster. You're all right. Anyway, so a couple other people start coming in, and the movie's about to start, and I already taken notes because I already saw it at AFI, so I was just ready to watch it with him because he was excited to see the new Spielberg, right? Because
Hmm.
when I was a
Hmm.
kid, he took me to ET, so I was just like,
Oh,
okay,
it's
yeah, I'm
beautiful.
I'm gonna pay it back to my old man here. And about 10 minutes before that movie started, he just looked at me and he said, "By the way, I just want to let you know, I think this is just so cool, and I'm so proud of you. And if I never let you or came off with like the feeling that you didn't or you shouldn't have done this, I was wrong. This is what you were made to do." And I sat there and I was just like, and in my head, I'm like, that's the most beautiful thing you've ever said to me. And he told me he loved me. And then he's like, I gotta go to the restaurant. I'll be right back before this movie starts. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I gotta watch this movie now. And then there's that moment when
That particular
that
movie.
particular movie.
Yeah.
So then the moment when like Dano has to give up at the end, right? Of like, stop going to college, follow your dream. I'm a mess in that. And he's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, you just did that to me. Like, and I was a puddle, but it was the most open thing. And it was so off guard. And that's the thing about a movie like this. It's like like this trip in this movie, I kid you not, it's a mostly pretty normal trip. And their relationship in the trip
Hmm.
is pretty laid back and pretty normal for the two of them. It's only till the end you realize that this is a goodbye. That a
Yeah.
closing of a chapter and a goodbye to the past, and that it's over. Like there is no going back from her being married and him living alone.
Yeah.
And then the final shots of this where he's back at the house by himself. That's his existence now. And to think about that when you are running around with the kid, or you're going to bed with the wife, or I'm going to bed. On the other end is your parents at home It's quiet in that quiet house
Dude,
where
I saw
it captures that so beautifully, and yet he's proud of it because it's what is supposed to happen. It's
you know what?
and she doesn't know it, but one day you would believe that she would thank him for something like that. That gift that he kind of gives her
Yeah.
at the end of this thing.
This is actually, I think, becoming one of our more interesting episodes and maybe one of our less listenable episodes as we just kind of talk about our experiences.
Or
But
sort of blabber
um
ourselves to the
no, I mean
existence.
it has become, and it's a credit to the freaking movie that this is what it's bringing up. But
Yeah.
I saw and I'm sure Ozu would be ecstatic if I
Well, he
said
would be
that
like,
this reminded me of a TikTok I saw recently.
Jesus Christ.
Um, but
By the way, can I just say this? I love the way your
yeah.
mind works sometimes, buddy.
Oh
Because
well, thank you.
you could just
Thank you
go
so
from
much.
that to something else. It's just
It is very related though. I saw
yeah.
a it was a short clip of the Mike Birbiglia podcast, who's a comedian. He has a lot of connections. He was on with Bob Odenkirk, and I think he does sort of in the actor studio way, just like ask some very pointed questions. And the question he asked here was, "Who are you jealous of?" And what Bob Odenkirk said was, and Bob Odenkirk's, probably well into his 60s, I think, probably
Very,
at this
very
point.
famous man.
Very famous man and
He's Saul.
incredibly
You
successful. And
better
he just
go.
said, "I'm I'm jealous of anyone that has a small child because I felt purpose when I had kids growing up that I never
Jeez.
have felt before or after."
I didn't see that this week. Wow.
And that hit me good as a person with a small child. Um, And then this movie reminded me of that idea because it
Yeah.
does give you such purpose. And then when you go beyond that, it's like what else is there?
I
Is
know.
that the
And
ultimate purpose? It's crazy.
well, I think that that's what he's
God, it's
doing.
the second time I've cried on podcast. I hate this.
What was
I
the other one?
retire.
What was the other one, Jay?
Talking about the Tree of Life a
Yeah. That
while
was the last
ago.
time you cried
Yeah,
on a show.
but I know I did. I watched that TikTok and I was like, oh my God, like that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
And then watching this movie shortly after that, I was like, that's what it is, man. It does capture that idea, the happiness of seeing your child succeed combined with the sadness that means that they don't need you as much anymore.
Yeah. But the thing about her character is I think she does know how much she still needs him.
She
She
almost needs him too much.
yeah, and
That's the conflict of the
that's
movie.
the conflict of it is that it's not there's not this grand
He
thing. It's
lies to her to try to get her to move out.
yeah, but it's as much of a facade because he realizes he wants her as much as she wants him. That's a dream for a parent, right? It's like God, this thing never this entity that I made wants to be with me forever and will love me no matter what. And I will love no matter what. But but he has to make that sacrifice. And ultimately she realizes that through his lie that she's that this is okay for her to leave. Like it's acceptable for her to have a larger, a more fulfilled life than just like he talks about like she loves like picking up after him. And when she says, well, if you need to be with a husband, and she goes, well, and he tells her, well, what, like, you need to have a life. And she's like, well, who's going to clean up after you? Who's going to cook for you? Who's going to iron these things? Who's going to have these things? Essentially, like how her mother had before. Who is going to be able to take care of you? How are you going to take care of yourself? Because you've never been able to do that. And he goes, "Oh, I'll be able to do it." But by the end of this film, he's like, "I don't know if he's going to be able to do it,
Yeah.
but he's going to have to try just as much as she's going to have to try to find
Yeah.
happiness within her marriage.
So it's
It's
like
about two people trying,
he's trying to
you
push
know?
her out for her own benefit, knowing that it will be detrimental to him.
While she's pushing, while he's pushing, she's pulling, and it's
She
this,
wants to stay and take care of him, and that would be better for him, but he knows that
and she's
it would
content
be
with
better
that.
for her if she
She's
exactly.
super content with it, and then and like,
God, parenthood is a trip, man.
but honestly, like,
This series might actually kill me. Like I might actually die. And I didn't know that before we started this episode.
and we
But
just put on one. Yeah, we were just doing one thing. No, I kind of have a feeling we might go a little bit into this, but it's hard not to. Like that's the beauty of this, and that's what I think lies within reading about Ozu and reading about some of the earlier stuff, and reading about the stuff during the war and the sort of the propaganda era that he had, which is like he came out of this was just like understandings of like no, there's far more complexities inside our culture and traditions than one would believe,
and this does have a post-war haze over it.
yeah,
For
the idea
sure.
of like of that like you don't have to be beholden to the past and tradition so much. It's
But it's
it's
also
all,
like in the wake of destruction
but
and
you can understand,
violence. It's like
but you
we
she
need to keep these things so close to ourselves.
exactly you can understand her not wanting to leave because
Yeah.
it's like it's not specific. Is it specifically said how his wife passes away? You don't really.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But like the idea of like of why would I want to leave you right now when the world around us almost disintegrated?
Mhm.
Why would change be the good thing? Because during moments of uncertainty, we cling to the things we love most, right?
But also they're never explicitly unhappy.
No, they're not unhappy,
But
but
it just feels like this is the natural state of things, and
but
we
when you
need
get in
to
a
progress.
when you get in a routine and then you start talking to people like, you guys, if you've been dating somebody for a long time, you're like, hey, how long have you and such and such have been together? You guys ever thinking about just getting married? Like, and then like people think
But
that's
the
like
thing
such
is,
a
the
big
way that
thing,
they've been
you know?
dating is it's mom and dad.
Yeah,
They're like, this is. Have you guys ever thought about just living together forever? And then dad finally is like,
you're my daughter. Get the
no,
hell out of
I'm
my
not going to
house.
be around forever. You need a me that is your age or closer to your age. You need to find love.
I know, and
And that's
she's
a very noble thing for him to do because if he just lived his life out the way that this movie starts, he would have a phenomenal life with a daughter who loved him to the ends of the earth and cared for him to the fullest.
but it's so interesting
But
how
he wanted
she's
more for her.
but he's more even though he's older, he feels like he has to push himself more into modern ideas. And she's stuck so much in the past and the conservative ideas. Like that guy that comes in there,
She
like,
thinks like remarriage is like evil
yeah,
and
like
disgusting.
you're
Yeah.
a like deplorable human being for finding love outside of your original marriage. And like to the extent of like his friend makes fun of her for being so uptight about it, or the idea of like her friend, right? Like her friend is in a marriage, but she just like, oh, if I don't like him, I can just find another. And like a
Mhm.
modern world is building around these two in this small town, and she's so passionately stuck into the ways, and honestly, the ways that we see how love and how people are from our childhood depicted in our, you know, you know, mostly young adulthood, how we want our life to shape. And post this war and post this time and post her mom being gone, she's closed herself off to like love and all that. I have to put that aside because like my country, just literally was in shambles. And the only thing that I have of value is my father and routine and stability. And he's like, no, but that's not good then. Like the point then is to have more than just me. Because to your point, Jay, I'm not going to be here forever. You will watch me deteriorate and become a lesser version of myself. And then you will be here in my house and you will become old and you will have nothing and nobody there to be there for you. And that's a sad existence to think of for your child as well. And it's
But
ultimately like, I don't want to be, he could have been immensely selfish
yeah,
and just said, fuck it, you're staying with me. And he didn't do that. And that's really, for someone of an older generation to realize that, it's heartbreaking and it's quite noble at the same time
it
to
is. Yeah,
come up with that,
absolutely.
you know?
Because you think about it as her being his non-romantic older life partner, so to
Yeah.
speak. That's sort of where they were, but she wanted more for her. She wanted romance for her. She wanted potential children, or he wanted potential children
He
for
wanted
her.
grandchildren. Like the idea of like
And
getting to see that. Because what,
honestly, in a certain way, grandchildren are kind of the greatest accomplishment of
yeah,
a grandparent,
yeah,
because it's like I spawned an extra generation. Like I did my part to bring
I did my
about
part. Yeah,
these people. It's
yeah.
it's beautiful,
Well, it's
and
also a
I mean,
little
I
bit of,
think about
yeah.
I don't know. I just had some. It's very. It speaks very highly of this film that I am now, as I talk through it, just thinking about these very kind of potent potent moments,
Mhm.
or potent things about my life that have really come about. And it's thinking about um this idea of legacy and family and um lineage, and how I lost my last grandparent within the last, what, 4 or 5 months. My grandfather, my final grandparent, passed away, and I was driving in the car with my dad to the funeral, and I was just like, you know what? It had been a while since he passed away. Before we did the funeral, he was cremated, and we did the service a couple weeks later. And I was just like, this is really weird. I've never, this is my last grandparent. I don't have any grandparents left. And my dad was just like, yeah, I mean, like I'm an orphan now, I guess, right? Technically. And it's just crazy to think about existence in that way, and how much your parents pass down onto you if they were involved in your life. And parents, be they biological or surrogate or whatever they may be, but how important those people are. And in the circumstances of this movie, her father is kind of responsible for thrusting her into the greater world. In a different movie, or in a different existence, her father is like, yes, continue to take care of me because that is the best thing for me. But her unselfish father propels her into an entirely different world that makes her simultaneously joyous and bereft.
Yeah.
And it's that emotional complication that I think makes this movie so powerful, and a movie that I find more powerful by the minute. And as I continue to talk about it, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is the 21st best movie of all time. you know, it's a beautiful film, a
It's
wonderful
an
film
incredibly beautiful film.
in
I
weird ways, because it's not. We haven't talked about the movie that much, Ryan. I,
no,
I
I
will
mean
be
no, we
honest.
we have talked a lot about I think its themes and what it means to us. I mean, like, not every route. I mean, right, not that I need to explain to you the things of this show because we clearly sometimes don't talk enough about the film. But I think that we've done actually a really good job of sort of talking about a movie here that's. I mean, there is scenes outside of it that are outside of these emotions that we're talking about. I mean, like there's a very like
It's bringing
there's
me
some
back to the Malik series,
there's
where
very
it's like
funny
very
stuff
personal. Yeah.
like in the first act of this movie. I think is quite funny. I mean, like that his like the idea of him thinking that like the only man that she could be with and is his apprentice, and not even noticing that his apprentice is married and has a family and so oblivious to that, like he's so closed off in his bubble.
Mhm.
I think the Ant character in this movie is hysterical.
Mhm.
I think she's just like the whole like, well, her trying to go up the stairs and trying to like trying to get like the answer of, will you see this guy? Like, will you? And she's in she's just like, I mean, I guess, like, I really don't. Her trying to avoid the question is very much like of a child who's just like, I'm trying to avoid this topic because you're going to upset my, my routine in a lot of ways, the status quo, and I don't want to burst
Hmm.
that bubble. And I think that there's a little bit of, some of like, honestly, some of like the dodging of those questions reminded me of some of the old Hollywood films that we've watched in the on the past show too, of just the way it's sort of set up and staged, and especially like the levels of this place. But then also there's just like great moments of the static camera just sitting there and watching them go
Yeah.
through her routine of taking care of him. So you kind of understand too. It's like we're the decisions made are going to rock these people for a very long time,
Hmm.
and once they do start slowly, and that's the thing I said earlier, it's like, Jay, the movie takes its time of allowing these characters to get to the
It feels
point
so
of
lived
making these
in.
decisions.
It
They're
just
like, it's
feels
not,
so
oh, I
grounded.
just had this epiphany overnight. It's like
But it's also
it's
like there is no epiphany. It just sort of happens. You know, that there's no moment of great drama in this movie. It's just a continuation of life that results in a moment of emotional conflict that can not be defined as happy or sad. It's a combination of everything.
yeah,
And that's life, man.
yeah.
You know? That's life.
What do you think about her the stuff with her friend?
I think it's very good. I think it's great when she's like, "Do you want bread?" And she's like, "You know what? Actually,
I
yes,
want
I
it.
want bread."
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I want it, but I
Like
don't really want it,
bread
but I want to
rocks
eat it because of
actually.
you, you know?
And
That
then she's
cake
like,
looked good.
"Do you want jam or should I pretend that you don't and bring it anyway?" And she's like, "Yes, absolutely, bring it anyway."
That cake looked good though, right?
It did look good. I mean,
Man.
the divorcee stigmata in this movie is very interesting. They don't like
You think
divorces in this
it
movie.
would oh, you think they should have like dabbled into that a little more, or
No, not necessarily. I mean, I'm saying stigmata because we just talked about Benedetta, but that
no?
was the wrong term to use. Um, the hate of divorcees in this movie is very interesting and also very
Well,
1940s.
to be fair, even in our own culture, divorce was, you know, very much a faux pas when it came to, I wouldn't even say divorce was. I mean, when was normalizing? When was divorce normal? Because I can tell you this.
Oh,
Can
the
I?
90s for sure.
I mean, like my parents got divorced in the '90s, and when my dad told my grandparents, it was a very funny story.
That's what Gen X was, the divorce
My
generation.
my parents divorced when I was about 5, and my dad told my grandparents, and my grandmother said, "You can't tell anybody. What will they think of us?" And my dad looked at him and said, "Hang on."
That was pretty late for that. Yeah.
My dad said, "It's not about you. It's about
Yeah.
us. So they're not going to think anything when it comes to you." And nobody did, because I think you're right. I think about like the late '80s, '90s is when it started
Yeah.
to really
Yeah. Very,
change.
very
Yeah.
common. Yeah.
Now it's. I mean, you hear about the statistics.
Yeah.
Just do they go up now
Why get
every
married
year?
in the first place?
Well, it's a
Um,
great tax benefit, and then when you have those kids,
uh,
helps you out even more.
I think they've flattened out. I mean, they've definitely flattened out.
I know.
But they were spiking for a while.
Oh, the numbers. Oh, I thought you were talking about the
Yeah.
tax benefit. And I was like, that was mostly a
Oh, no,
joke,
no,
but
no.
it is a pretty good benefit if you can get it. No, I really love this movie. I thought it was,
It's a lovely film.
it's a
That's sort
lovely
of the
first
best
start.
word I can use to describe it. It's lovely and
Yeah,
beautiful and
really makes us think.
formally
Yeah,
interesting.
for sure.
Movie that makes you feel.
Very much so. Very much so. And
Yeah.
it was one of those that, and
Without being a
on the,
terribly plotty film. Like
without
it's
being really much on the nose, to
if
be fair.
somebody asked you, you know, so yeah, I've heard about this movie Late Spring. What's it about? It's sort of like I don't know, early adult life, sort of. It's kind of what
Hmm.
it's about as a single person. And they're like, oh, I'd rather watch Thunderbolts.
I don't think anybody wanted to watch Thunderbolts.
I've watched half of Thunderbolts.
You only watched half of
I
Thunderbolts?
will finish it, but yes, I've watched half of Thunderbolts. I
Was
fell
it on
asleep.
Disney Plus?
My father-in-law rented it,
Oh,
obviously,
okay. And
or
you have
bought
that,
it, and I have
and it
watched
has the
it.
connection. You have your
Of
Apple is
course. Yeah,
connected
yeah,
to
yeah.
it, so
Absolutely.
the Apple's connected to your TV. So that's how you
Hmm.
watched it. Okay, cool. Um, Jay,
Yeah.
before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed, Late Spring. In a segment we like to call "It's an Honor to Get Nominated." Now, this is going to be very tricky to talk about.
These are going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. Was Late Spring nominated
When
for
did
any?
this come out in America? Because I'm going to say this was not nominated for anything.
You are correct. This was not nominated for anything.
Great.
Um, so that's the tricky part about doing some of these films. Is this movie came out in Japan in 1949.
Hmm.
It was not released into commercially the United States till 1972.
1972.
We're
That
talking
would have
about.
been the first Godfather year?
Uh,
Was that 72?
I think you're. Hang on. Godfather one.
Or was
Yes, that
that
is correct.
Yep.
1972
Okay.
is the
All
Godfather.
right.
Correct, Jay. Which was number one on the list. Number 12 on the Saints list. Um,
Hmm.
so yes, I think we could say that it would be
Do we
eligible.
put it in that Oscars?
I would say it would be eligible in 49. Well, I don't know. I don't know how we
Just
would
put it
talk
in
about this.
that Oscars. Let's just put it in that
In
Oscars. Let's see.
72?
Let's see. Yeah. Why not?
1972. Okay. Because that's when, yeah, because here's the thing.
That's when it would have
And,
been
and we've never
eligible.
talked about this, but this is the thing. So movies can qualify for technically 2 years if you're international. So for international feature, if it's released within the country, like if like a movie, if this movie was released in Japan this year, right? Then it
Hmm.
is eligible for international feature
Hmm.
because it premiered in that country and they can
Of
submit
course.
it. But if then this movie wasn't released in the United States until like April of next year,
Okay.
then it
But
can be eligible for every other category, I
what about
believe.
3 years later
No,
or
because
5 years later?
no.
All right. Well, we're gonna do it anyway.
Well, I guess so. I guess so. I guess you could, but would it get nominated? Most likely not, because that's not usually how it works nowadays. But you know what I'm trying to say there. Like it could happen, but it's not. It's not going to
All
happen.
right. Let's just pretend it was in the running for the Godfather year.
So it's Godfather, Cabaret, Deliverance, The Immigrants, Sounder.
Oh, wait.
What
We're gonna go. I'm sorry.
you want to put this in the 1950 year or 1949 year?
I mean, we
Which year do
can't.
you want to put it in? Because we need to make a definitive stance here and now, going
Are
forward
we
for
gonna
any
go
international.
24 years after the movie was released?
No, we can't do
I
that.
mean, it's
That's
kind of
ridiculous.
fun to do that.
It's kind of fun to do that, but
All
also
right, do it the year that it was released in Japan. Let's do September 1949. Let's do it 1950.
50s Oscars.
What
Okay.
was the 1950 Oscars?
The 1950s Oscars, the winner was All the King's Men.
Hmm.
The other nominees were Battleground,
Hmm.
The Heiress, A Letter to Three Wives, and 12 O'Clock High. I'm going to go on a wager that you've seen none of those films.
I have seen zero of those films.
I've seen one of those films. I've seen The Heiress.
Okay.
Very good movie. Well,
Okay.
I've seen All the King's Men, but
Hmm.
I'm not talking. But in terms of, have I seen Battleground? No. 12 O'Clock High? No. I can't even barely say the damn title.
That
But
yeah, that looks like a
I would
pretty
consider
weak
this.
Oscars in general. Good
I would
Lord.
consider this for picture
I would put it in picture over these movies
director.
that I haven't seen.
We did not. They did not have a international feature film
Yes.
Um,
Picture is unbelievable. Like that's a lock.
Now
Director is a lock for me.
they did have a special foreign language film award that the Board of Governors gave to a film called Bicycle Thieves. Have you ever seen a little
Ever
film
heard of it?
called Ever Heard of It? So that was their international, I guess, selection. That would
Okay.
have been one of them. But um, yeah, I put this in picture, director, actor. It's pretty
It's a great performance.
actress.
Again, I haven't seen any of these. Put him in both. Why
Put him
not?
in both. Get him 4 noms. I don't know if I would do a
Hmm.
screenplay. Cinematog?
Yes. I think it's so specific. Yeah, I think you give it a cinematography. You know what it reminded me of?
Editing, too, I would say, because the editing in this
Editing
movie
for
is
sure. The
fantastic.
cinematography reminded me of, and this is a guy who started as a critic and was kind of obsessed to a certain extent with Ozu, was
Chris
late
Stuckman.
Paul Schrader.
Oh, Paul Schrader. I was going to say Chris Stuckman.
That dude loves in his later years to just stick a camera on the ground and
Is
let
Schrader
things
canceled?
play out. It's a great question because there is an argument that he is uncancelable
Yeah, but then
because
it's
of
also
his
because of who,
demeanor.
yeah. He's
But
just,
then also, does that make him more cancelable?
it's like a question mark and you move on, right?
Yeah.
I
I think
guess
we
so.
just leave it up to the cancel gods.
I guess so. Well, I mean, he's making his next movie. It's already like in the can. He just
Yeah.
announced it.
He was also in that American Eagle ad.
Oh, that wasn't Sydney Sweeney. That was him.
That was Paul Schrader.
I was wow. He was actually the
He's looking good.
he was actually the car in that ad, which is crazy. Uh, um, Jay,
Hmm.
I think that's it, buddy. I think we did good on this
Wow.
first one.
We
We're
did
really
great.
good.
I
Um,
was a little worried about this, but I actually thought this was
I think we did good.
I
Not
think
to
we
pat
did
ourselves
good.
on the back. Well, okay,
I
you're
almost
patting.
cried.
Yeah, well, I think you did. I saw a tear.
I don't know about all that. This is an audio podcast. Nobody will ever know.
Screenshotting that, putting it up on all platforms now. If you keep it up.
It's
Um,
just crazy, man. Being a parent is wild.
yeah, yeah, but also too, you got a great kid.
He's a great kid.
Jet's the best.
I want him to thrive, and also him thriving is like
Do you think
one
he's
step towards him not living with me anymore.
Do you think
It's
he's gonna
crazy.
like me?
Oh, he's gonna love you, dude.
Oh well, because I'm the best.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
no, you could say it.
That's what I was gonna say, but you said
Oh,
it
but I
already.
said it first.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say
Well,
it. I
now
want to
I
hear
don't want to
something.
repeat. I don't want to repeat
Well,
what you
okay.
already
Well,
said.
that's you could say something else.
Um. All right. So my recommendation of the week.
Social media platforms too, and all that stuff, Jay, where they can find you as well as your recommendation of the week.
Letterbox J Ledbetter, anything I'm writing over at AwardsWatch. Keep listening to this podcast and other
Yeah.
podcasts on this very feed, because there are other podcasts on this feed.
Hmm.
Um, Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter, where I post links to this podcast exclusively, basically. And my recommendation of the week, I'm gonna go with Final Destination. Is it called Bloodlines? Is that what it's
Bloodlines,
called?
buddy. Yeah,
Bloodlines.
Bloodlines.
Yeah. Watch that this week.
Bloodlines.
It was
I know you
that
want it.
series finally realizing its potential. It
Yeah.
is so entertaining. It finally grasps onto the inherent tension that comes from that idea of everything potentially going wrong,
Yeah.
the paranoia associated with that, and takes it to 11 with uber violence, genuinely good filmmaking, which is really the difference between every other Final Destination film and this movie. It is just relentlessly tense, and the kills are phenomenal. In my letterboxed review, I said it was akin to watching somebody dunk for the first time watching basketball. It was just like, oh, we've reached a new level with this series. I loved it. One of my favorite movies of the year.
I love that. I still need to watch it. Um,
Check it out.
Streaming?
I rented it.
You rented it? Okay.
Hmm.
Worth the rent though. What you say?
It's worth
Worth
the
the
rent.
rent. Okay.
Give them the money.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky at Ryan McQuade 77. If you like podcasts, we have the main show that is released on Mondays, iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews. We greatly appreciate it. While you're on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all the news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, award season stuff, all sent to you all in one place. My recommendation of the week, we got real personal on this show today, buddy, and got real emotional. I gotta tell you, I watched like a week or like 2 weeks ago. The wife and I, we were just going through the D plus, and I remember I recommended Emperor's New Groove a couple weeks ago, and after Emperor's New Groove, we watched my favorite Disney movie, which was Beauty and the Beast, all-time classic. And movie made me cry, because I was thinking a lot about my grandparents, and then they took me to the theater to see that a lot, especially on the re-releases. They took me to the IMAX to see it, and just a beautiful movie. I would say, though, if you can get a Blu-ray copy and watch an old Blu-ray copy of it, that's better than watching Disney Plus's version, because they reanimated it and kind of like upgraded
they love
it.
smoothing over everything.
They smoothed over that stuff, and the grain of the original film is just so beautiful. And we do own a copy of that here.
Nice.
So I would recommend going and finding a used Blu-ray or new Blu-ray from the old versions and just having that. But Beauty and the Beast, incredible film, under 90, 84-minute masterpiece.
Yeah. We love it under 90.
Songs absolutely rip, are beautiful. Characters are all great. Yeah, movie absolutely rocks. We don't get animated movies like that anymore. It really sucks. But yeah,
I miss hand-drawn animation, man.
I miss them too, man. Like, go back to that. You really just make a kid's mind imagine a hell of a lot more.
It's real art.
It's a dying craft. It's like projecting film.
It's really not even die. It's dead, man.
Yeah, both of those are just,
except for Bluey, even though that's all done on computers.
That's
too.
all done on computers.
It's just imitating 2D animation.
Well, that's like, I guess Miyazaki is the last one.
Kind of.
But even though still, like, the rest of the people in Studio Ghibli are like, go to computers, and he's like, I'm going to draw this shit for you.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why a movie like Boy and the Heron looks a hell of a lot better than so many other ones. But then you look at like Across the Spider-Verse, and then you're like, okay, I get it.
No, there are computer.
There are good looking
films
ones.
Where I'm like, great.
The Dragon films, you know.
Yeah, that Spider-Verse, the last Spider-Verse movie, kind of blew me away.
What a great movie. Yeah. Jay.
Yeah,
that's going to do it for this week's show.
A great episode, an interesting episode for us.
Very interesting. We were not silly today.
No.
So we contain multitudes. I want people out there to acknowledge that.
What a podcast.
What a podcast.
What a podcast we make every week, man.
When people think we're going to zig, we zag. Who knows? We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about Early Summer, latest film, or the next film in our Ozu series. So thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all next time.